Okay. This week, we're learning about the laws of sacrifices. Torah talks about the daily sacrifice that was offered in the temple in the morning and the evening, and the sacrifices that were offered the various holidays. That's what the Torah discusses in this week's Torah portion. And there is a discussion about the meaning of why we offer these sacrifices. So I wanted to analyze this from three perspectives: of Maimonides, Nachmanides, and then we'll see the explanation of the Zohar and Chassidus. Maimonides gives very interesting take on the sacrifices. Maimonides says that the Jewish people, when they left Egypt, they were stooped in idol worship for so many years. It was so part of who they were that in order to bring them to serve Hashem, it was a dramatic change. So in order to make this easier, since they were used to offering sacrifices to idolatry, therefore Hashem gave them the mitzvah of offering sacrifices to Him in order for them to be help them acclimate to the service of Hashem. That's what Maimonides says. And a lot of the commentaries, including Nachmanides, take very strong issue with Maimonides because there are a lot of obvious questions. If the purpose of the sacrifices was merely to assuage the feeling of the Jewish people, then why are the mitzvahs in the Torah, which are forever? If they were just a temporary band-aid for an emotional crutch for us getting used to serving Hashem, then why are they forever? Many other questions that could be asked about Maimonides' take on the sacrifices. Maimonides writes this in the Guide to the Perplexed, and his explanation leaves many perplexed and not satisfied with the answer. So Nachmanides offers a deeper explanation. Nachmanides was a very great Kabbalist himself, as Maimonides was too, but Nachmanides explains the meaning of sacrifices a little deeper. It doesn't go all the way to the Zohar. Nachmanides says that the sacrifices were meant to atone for sins, and the way they were able to bring this atonement was by a person visualizing and picturing that whatever happened to the animal that was being slaughtered should have happened to the person himself. And just by picturing that the person was deserving of being slaughtered and all the other things that happened to a sacrifice, that meditation of feeling obligated, culpable, guilty, that's what created the atonement. It wasn't the animal per se. The animal was more of a prop to help a person come to a deep understanding of what he had done wrong and what he was deserving of. And so that's the purpose of the sacrifices, according to Nachmanides. The Zohar says something else. The Zohar says, Raza de Kurbana Ila de Raza de Insof. The secret of the sacrifices ascends to the secret of the Ein Sof. That's what the Zohar says. What does that mean? So, in general, in the Zohar talks about the feminine waters and the male waters. The Zohar compares this world and to the Jewish people to the feminine, and Hashem to being masculine. And just like a female receives from the male, so too there is our role as, so to speak, the wife of Hashem. We are recipients of Hashem's love and light, and so there are two different kinds of models of the connection between Hashem and the Jewish people. There is one where the male waters come first and they inspire the female waters, which means that Hashem inspires us, and because Hashem inspires us, we respond. And then there is another concept of Mayim Tkurin, Mayim Nukvin, Oila, Umamshich, Mayim Tkurin. That the female waters ascend and they draw down the male waters. That the effort of the Jewish people causes revelation from Hashem. And so, in the sacrifices that were brought in the temple, the focus was not just to be a some kind of emotional crutch for us to get out of idol worship, or just as a prop for us to picture what may happen to us, what we should have happened to us, but rather there's something that actually happens to us by offering the sacrifice. It says in Yecheskel that the primary items in the sacrifice are the fat of the sacrifice and the blood of the sacrifice. In Kabbalah, it says that fat and blood correspond to the two divine energies of attraction and rejection, of chesed and gvura, of revelation and concealment. Those two energies, chesed and gvura, are the predominant energies. They're the source of all the other 10 spheres. All the other 10 spheres are offshoots and continuations of these two initial 10 energies, two energies of chesed and gvura. And that's why in our world as well, there are two major forces. If you ask any question, there are only two general answers. There could be nuanced answers, but the two general answers are chesed, permissiveness, or gvura, restraint, yes or no. This is because the divine energy that animates all the worlds are these two energies, chesed and gvura. So it says in Sefer Pardes, Shar Gavanim, talking about their various colors, it says that the color of white is associated with chesed, color of red is associated with gevura, and that what that means is that the divine energy in the color white actually comes from Hashem's kindness. That's the source of it, and so too with red. So the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur wore white clothing because his garments were connected to the divine sphere of Hashem's kindness. So when we offer a sacrifice to Hashem, we offer chelev edam. Chelev, fat, corresponds to Hashem's kindness, and dam, blood, corresponds and is connected to gvura. Why is fat associated with kindness? So we have in today's Hayom Yom, it says in Hayom Yom today that Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, who was physically large, he had a large body. The reason his body was large, it was because of the enjoyment he had in saying Hey Shmei Rabba. Hayom Yom says that the enjoyment that the soul has can affect the actual makeup of the body. This is something that was introduced especially through the Baal Shem Tov, that our soul and body are really symbiotic. They really affect each other. It says about Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu was, so to speak, sick because of a spiritual problem, because of Hashem's anger at the Jewish people. So the Rebbe Rashab, in the source of the Hayom Yom, the Rebbe Rashab says in various discourses that when the body has pain, the soul has pain. The body experiences affects the soul, and conversely. So just for a second, so what that means is, like, if you eat well, you're able to concentrate. if it's if there's a special joy, a happiness, you're able to open your mind and heart to understand Torah more. As it says in the Talmud, there are three things that broaden man's mind and heart. So, a beautiful home, a beautiful wife, beautiful furniture. So your soul is able to concentrate in Torah more because of the body's um, the body's experience. And conversely, the soul's experience affects the body. So the physical body of Rab Nachum Chernobyl, the something that the Baal Shem Tov introduced, the idea of how the body could actually be affected by the soul's pleasure. And so that's what happened to him. His enjoyment and pleasure from saying Yesh Me Rabbah is caused his body to expand. So expansion in general is associated with chesed. That's why fat is associated with chesed. Fat is the body expanding, the body growing. Like the Gemara says about Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, that he was speaking to a Roman general who became the Roman emperor, and the emperor was unable to take off his shoe because he had such pleasure from the news that he became the emperor of Rome that his physical foot became larger. So that's chayla. Chayla is chesed. And dam and blood is associated with gvura, it's associated with restraint in the sense that um, that there is a concentrated energy. The blood is heated up. There's like a lust and passion, um, enthusiasm. That's that's the energy of blood. So the idea of offering a sacrifice to Hashem of fat and blood is giving over to Hashem our pleasure and our enthusiasm, our chesed and our gvura, and because our chesed and gvura descends and emanates from Hashem's chesed and gvura, so it has an effect also in the divine spheres, in the source of chesed and gvura in the world of Atzilus, and they ascend as well. And chesed and gvura, they ascend too, as the Zohar says, Raz the Kurban Il Raz the Ein Sof. The secret of the sacrifice ascends to the secret of the Ein Sof. So what that means is, it's not just for the idol worshippers, it's not just a prop, but just like the physical animal was offered in a fire from heaven, so too, on a personal level, the sacrifice caused an elevation in the human being and in their animal soul. The animal soul is being elevated. The animal soul is being changed by the sacrifice, so that the animal soul is being elevated to Raz Ein Sof. And this is why the sacrifice causes an atonement. The Talmud says that a soul sinned, and the soul didn't know what to do. So the soul asked wisdom and prophecy, what should I do? And each had another thing to tell the soul. One told us, wisdom told the soul that you need to die. Prophecy said you need to have pain. Torah said you need to bring a sacrifice. Until the soul came before Hashem, and Hashem said, do tshuva and you'll be forgiven. That means that there are rules and parameters of creation, but then there is reaching a higher and deeper place beyond those rules. There's a simple parable to help us understand this. I'm not sure the exact author of the parable. I think it may be connected to the Rebbe Rashab, I don't know. That a king made a decree and someone violated the decree. So if you would go to the mayor, to the judge, there is a rule. You violate the decree, the king said, off with your head. However, if we were to be able to go directly to the king is the one who issued the decree. So there the rules can be changed. Similar way, when a Jew does teshuvah, the depth of his heart, he reaches to the essence of Hashem. Like it says about the atonement of Yom Kippur, Lifnei Hashem Tatar, you'll be purified before Hashem. And this explains that the tshuva brings a person beyond the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, beyond the name of Hashem. Tshuva brings a person face to face with the essence of Hashem. And that's why there can be atonement. So the theme of the sacrifice is that a Jew turns to Hashem. That's why the opening verse of the sacrifices is, a man who will bring from you a sacrifice to Hashem. On the surface, the verse is just saying, one of you who will bring a sacrifice to Hashem. But if that was the intent of this verse, it should have said, a man of you who will bring a sacrifice to Hashem. It says, a man who will bring from you a sacrifice to Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe famously said that this verse is telling us that when a person brings a sacrifice, he's also bringing a sacrifice from himself. That by offering the animal's blood and fat, he's also offering together with that his own blood and fat. The sacrifice causes this elevation of the human animal soul as well, and this reaches to the infinite light of Hashem, and that's why it causes a kapara, an atonement on a person in the physical world, that he is forgiven for his mistakes because he is reaching and connecting with the essence of Hashem, which is beyond, which is the one who issued the laws of the Torah which he had violated, and therefore from there, it's not that Hashem it's not just Hashem forgives him. It's that he reaches a place which is that there's no problem in the first place. He reveals the connection of a Jew to Hashem that's beyond all rules. The Tshuva brings out how a Jew and Hashem are one, and that just like a child and a father, it's not possible to say that that the child's not your child anymore, and the father says not a father anymore. No matter what a child does, the father still has this love from his very essence to his son, and so too from the son to the father. And that's what's revealed and accomplished through the sacrifices. And that's the meaning of the Zohar. The secret of the sacrifice reaches the secret of the Ein Sof. All right, any questions or comments?